where these cars really show their potential.
Jimmy Richards is the defending round winner from the 2010 round. Have a look at this field. They are still rolling up. 32
cars, boy. Yeah, that's a huge field.
Due to start this one. Gary Treloar there down the back of the grid in the Charger. Just trying to find where to line up. Mark King there alongside. They've had some engine problems with that Falcon. That's the car that Leanne Tander won this race in last year on Sunday.
Yeah, exactly.
It's down the other end of the field this time around, though, so he's got a bit of work to do. 7 laps ahead for Touring Car Masters, presented by Autobahn. Bow and Seaton on the front row, turning back the clock. The Masters on the mountain. If they're still asleep on top of the mountain, they're about to be woken up. Great start from John Bow. Eddie Albanese down the outside of all of them.
The whole lot.
Have a look at this. He started from the third row.
Third one. Oh.
And Jason Richards is through to second. They've swallowed JB.
Now, you just watch Seaton's Falcon. It goes up the hills like you would not believe.
Albanese is leading. Seaton second. Jason Richards and John Bow. These boys
Side by side.
They're neighbours in Melbourne. You've got to look after one another. And Albanese knows that Cito's coming. Covers the line. Into turn 2. And have a look at this. Listen to all the different sights and sounds. Jimmy Richards there. The Shannon Sports lost a spot to Steve Mason. Matt O'Brien there in the yellow HQ. New gearbox on board that car, and the Porsches are right in among. They'll be quick across the top, but up the straights, they're going to struggle.
They're going to struggle big time. But let me tell you, if Seaton gets in front, I think he's going to be hard to catch.
Well, it's an XB Coupe 1, 2. These cars were new to the series this year when TCM just extended the window of eligibility. There's Cam Tilley on board the Mustang, and for the first time across the top.
Because they've got the 6-litre, the old 351 Cleveland engine in them, which is an extremely well-developed engine over the years, and they've got some power.
If anyone's nursing a headache or is still asleep, sorry.
It's over.
This is the way to wake up on race morning at Bathurst. They tumble down through the dipper. 30 years ago it was Moffat and Goss and Bond. Today it's Albanese and Seaton and Bow and Jason Richards chasing them down, defending the honour for the General, as he's done so many times at the mountain. We'll jump on board with JR.
It's just an awesome racetrack. All the Americans and Europeans that come over here just cannot believe that we actually race cars around here.
Listen to that thing. Yeah. West Ruby gets brains out and Seaton goes to the lead.
And I tell you what, Bowie's going to be extremely anxious to have a go too, and here he goes.
In the gap, Albanese gives him some room. Andrew Medicki on the charge, gets it done on Cam Tilley. We've seen Cam drive the Valiant Pacer for the last few years, stepped into this Mustang for the last round at Eastern Creek and was instantly fast. But Seaton, this brand new car for Jim Morton's team, it's only in its second run. It ran at Eastern Creek in September at the Muscle Car Masters. It got dinged on its debut, but it is hooked up now.
Well, I think we're going to see one hell of a battle between Bowie and Seaton, because they've been going at it for years.
Well, I do remember them having a little run in here a few years ago.
Very tenacious, both of them, to be quite honest.
You avoided that. I set it up and you gave me nothing. Up over the rise. Remember that John Bow has won 8 races in TCM. This year, JR is going for P3. Well, he's defending the honour because at the moment it's forward, hold and forward. Great to see one of the Aussie cars in there and running with the American muscle.
Exactly.
Now, watch to the right. This is on board with Jason Richards. Look for Eddie Albanese. That was a great start from Jason Richards. He hooked it to the inside, but Eddie got them all.
The whole lot.
Let's have a look again. Look for the red XB Coupe at the bottom of the screen.
He jumped the start a little bit too, I think. Medicki gets a shocker.
It's only a jump if you get caught, DJ.
It is.
Up to the top, Seaton leading. Of course, he had his last start in the 1000 last year with Jason Barguana.
And actually, he's been enjoying quite a number of drives in all sorts of different cars.
Yeah, he's been doing all sorts of stuff, whether it be coaching some young drivers. He's got his young fella Aaron, who's doing a lot of karting. Wouldn't mind betting there's going to be another seat at Bathurst in the next 5 to 10 years. X to the elbow. Jimmy Richards there, going with them. Brad Tilley next, then Steve Mason. Andrew Medicki hasn't been able to make ground. There's Cam Tilley, Brett Yulden in the green, HQ Monaro. That's the top 10. Listen to them scream over the top of the rise.
And they get on the limiters at the end of the straight, which is quite amazing.
The boys at Team BOC, Andy Jones, Bradley Jones, Chris Clark watching on their man JR.
As the fog rolls in a little bit.
Yeah, it just is a little bit.
It comes and goes.
It's a little bit of a pea soup in some spots, but it's not affecting the pace that these guys are cranking out. At the end of lap 2, we'll get a good read on flying lap times as opposed to the standing lap of lap 1. Seaton that time around at 24.3, Bow 24.2. Guess who's the fastest one? Jason Richards. 23.9. JR is coming for them. And I reckon if you were running 23s in the 80s in more modern cars than these, you were going pretty well.
You certainly were. I think pole here in 1981 was at 22.1 or 21.2 or something like that.
It's funny how these cars in the 60s and 70s, the technology that they have now, we should point out to you that this is not strictly historic racing. Jimmy Richards here putting a move on Eddie Abonisa, grabbing 4th spot, but they freed up the rule book to create Touring Car Masters. They made the cars a little bit more modern in some of the technology and the safety systems, a bit more reliable as well, and it actually has got really serious in those 5 years, it should be said.
And very, very competitive. Well, fortunately, Bowie's not close enough to Glenn to be able to sort of help him out in this area.
I think it was about here.
Right about there it was.
1995, I think there was a certain Shell FAO Ford that might have tapped the wall somewhere and got a bit of contact.
You get that.
Have a look at the lean through Reed Park, the lead up to McPhillamy.
Jimmy Richards.
Stevie Richards watching on as Jimmy goes to work across the top. Of course, Stevie, 2-time winner of the great race. Jim, 7. And he even did it in a Volvo. He was that good.
I think it was a little different then.
Yeah, Jason Bright watching on. His good mate Jason Richards. Would have dearly loved to be teaming up with him today. But this is a run. Here he comes. Richards is in the gap. He's got the move done. And there's only one more left to get to.
I can't believe Bowie should have left the hole like that. It's very unusual.
He's not done with yet. He's still in the tow. Remember that JB comes into this race second in the championship. What's the Mustang got? Jason's thing's tapped out. It's got nothing left, but it's got enough to hang on. And it's really great that Tony Hunter from Sunlight has helped put this deal together. This is the car that Tony's had for the last couple of years. It hasn't done much running. It's been upgraded. It's had a bit of a birthday. And JB, it should be said, helped put this deal together. It's a really great thing that he's done for Jace to be here this weekend.
I think the camaraderie in amongst this category is just fantastic. All the guys are very, very friendly, but they certainly spend a lot of money on these things.
Glenn Seaton has just clocked up a new lap record for TCM, 2:23.10. The margin's 1.5 seconds to Jason Richards. Bowers next, Jimmy Richards, Eddie Abonisa. Mediki's up to 6, so he's been able to make up some ground.
And as I said before, like 23s around here, these cars in their heyday, and the straight went all the way down without the chase, and they were doing 2:47.
And in those days, in the main race, after about 4 laps, we'd have lost 10 cars by now.
Correct.
Jason Richards up wide over the curve, veteran of 13 starts in the great race, 3 times a runner-up in 05 with Jamie Whincup, in 08 with Greg Murphy, in 09 with Cam McConville for Team BOC. He's got such a good record up here. Kim Jones, what can their team do today? They are still hunting for their first win in this race. They've won 2 races this year, remember, with Jason Bright. But they would dearly love to add a mountain crown. He and Brad have come here for so many years. In the front of shot there, Mark Winterbottom, we know, that's Gavin Bullis, former TCM champ, who has stepped out. He's had some engine problems with his Mustang this year. And he's a spectator this weekend, and he doesn't look like a good spectator.
So he's giving it a look yielded.
He did have a run in the Fujitsu series this weekend, but unfortunately a crash in practice put him out. He's pretty keen to put together a deal for Fujitsu series next year. Back aboard with Richards, and he's gaining. Well, he's not gaining, he's caught him.
Yeah, he's caught him. Gee, Jason's really putting in over the top. I think where he suffers a little bit is obviously down the straight compared to the Falcon.
That Falcon has got some pace. Look at the gap it pulls.
It's an absolute jet. Well, it's a silver bullet.
True. And But according to the speedo, there was 270 down Conrod.
It's not a bad effort, is it?
And this time around, Richards is fastest to the second sector of anyone in the whole race.
That's where Jimmy makes his time, is across the top, because his car's like that. It's just so quick across the top, very nimble.
This is the end of lap 4, and at this rate, if Seaton can hang where he is, he will win the round, which would be stunning in just the second round for this car. Up mountain straight, I'm getting worried. John Nelson in the Porsche, runs out of room. Mick Wilson in the Charger.
Actually well held too.
He did well. That could have got a lot worse than that. But back to the front, Jason Richards breaks the lap record at 22.6. He's on it.
Just the horsepower of the Falcon, I think, is just too much for him. He'll make a lot of gain across the top of the mountain, which, like Jimmy Richards, they're very fast across the top. But
the whole Brad Jones Racing Garage watching on. We call him Racing Jason for a reason. The bloke does not know when to slow down, and he will throw everything at this. He has been one of the galvanising forces in this paddock in the last 12 months. There's no doubt about it.
Let's see the gap that Cito's got now. Well, we'll just see what happens when they get down to Forest Elbow.
It'll be gone.
It'll probably be gone to nothing.
And now JB sets the fastest first sector. He just sat back, watched and looked.
And here comes Jimmy too. So
it's a master class in Touring Car Masters, no doubt about it. Glenn Seaton, of course, tried 26 times to win the great race. Came close, so many, and never got it done.
Very, very close on one occasion where I think it broke a valve spring or something.
That was 95. You discussed earlier on. Just 10 odd laps from the end and was leading.
There's Jason right on him again, right through Forest Elbow.
Just needs a couple of more HP. I know there's a lot of viewers who tune in. Let's just have a quick replay here. I'm getting worried.
Oh, no.
Gary Trelaw, no!
Oh.
Has he kept it off the wall? He does.
does.
Good job. Not often that you have a spin there and don't end up hitting someone or something. But I know there's a lot of viewers today, Dick, who might not watch V8 Supercars full-time throughout the year and indeed around the world. Jason has a rare form of cancer. He's not driving full-time in V8 Supercars. He's done a little bit of racing here and there when his health has permitted. He won a Fujitsu Series race in Adelaide. He is just as fast as ever before. Obviously.
The only problem with Jason is, I think, because of his illness, is just his durability, unfortunately.
7 laps is all he needs to do in this one. He's done 5, and he's within 7/10 of a second of Glenn Seaton, and he's got a sniff. And at this rate, it'll get him on the podium for the weekend. He'll finish 3rd for the round if he finishes second here.
And look how many of them have broken the lap record.
They are rocketing this weekend. The interior of that Monaro is a bit nicer than the ones I used to see in the films from the 70s.
And I think Cito's car looks a bit better than Mad Max too.
Just a little. It really does take us back to where we've come from in terms of V8 Supercars today, but the days of Group C touring car racing and improved production. It's keeping it alive and certainly opening the eyes of youngsters who weren't around to see these cars in their heyday. They're all standing on the fence saying, wow, this is great.
Well, actually, and most of the guys that are driving these cars further down the field are the ones that used to, as kids, hang over the fence and watch these cars go around.
On board with Richards, looking back at John Bowe. You're going to tell me what?
I think that because Bowie's getting a little bit closer to Jason, that he's probably a little bit more worried about Bowie than he is about Seaton at the moment.
Going to be worried about Bowe all the time.
Exactly.
Watch how close Richards is here. He's good on the stoppers into the elbow. He makes up heaps of time. The big coupe is a bit of a lumbering machine, but when it gets in a straight line,
it's a jet.
It is a rocket ship. Todd Kelly watching on. Teams up today with David Russell, Rick Kelly with Owen Kelly for Jack Daniels Racing, but these boys love. I know Todd's a bit of a Chev man, but the Monaro's near enough.
Yes. They're all on the limiters in top gear, that's why they're only doing 270, mate.
Yeah, if there was a bit more left, I'm sure that we'd add a couple of kph to that. Setting off now on the final lap. Just quickly, Jim Beam Racing. It has been a tough weekend. Both cars are a bit further back on the grid, but with the way this week's gone, anything's possible today.
Anything's possible. You know, the weather wasn't very kind to everyone to be able to sort of get the right setup, but hopefully we'll get to the point where we've got the right setup.
Well, you've got 161 laps this afternoon to do it in, and we've got 1 lap left to go in Touring Car Masters. Jason Richards has 0.6 of a second to find in this final lap on Glenn Seaton.
Just look at the times: 23.1, 23.0, 23.2, 23.0, 23.6.
The top 4 have streeted away. Mediki 5th, Abelnisa next from Brad Tilley, Mason, Youlden, Cam Tilley in the top 10. But really, it has been about these guys. Seaton, veteran of 26 Bathurst. Jason Richards, 13. John Bow, 23. Jimmy Richards holds the record. 35 starts in the great race. That is not going to be beaten for a long time.
No, it isn't. I remember Jimmy when he first came over here. He used to come into our workshop with his old Sid Chrome Mustang and work. So when we went to Lakeside and places like that, it was...
Across the top, the final time. Jimmy Richards is fastest to the first sector. That is big. Andrew Whiteside.
Wow.
The Mustang. That looks like it's on the exit even of the chase. Red flag is out. Race is stopped. The result will be backdated to the previous lap. So the win will go for the racing round. Yep, to Glenn Seaton. So he never won on Sunday at Bathurst in the main race, but at least he gets a win on Sunday here. But that is huge. That's on the exit of the chase, on the run into Murray's Corner at the bottom of Connor. And Andrew's moving around in the car. He's okay. But the left front, that is massive damage. Let's have a look again, Dick. That's a move from George Nittis getting by Mick Wilson's Charger. He comes back onto the track, and this is... Which way does he go? Oh, no, it's actually the Charger. Just tags Whiteside, who was getting through. And it's just like we saw with the Ute yesterday with Brad Patton. Bouncing off that tyre wall.
Something fell off.
That was strange. He caught the end of the tyre wall, which...
Something fell off one of these cars.
Let's have a look from this side. There's the tap.
See that?
There's a little bit of debris from the contact. And the Mustang just smashes into the wall.
That is one serious accident.
But that tyre wall has absorbed the energy and bounced the car. It hasn't pulled it right into the wall.
And that's where Paul Radicic had a problem a couple of years back.
2006. Just tags the Mustang and just catches the end of that tyre wall. And that's one of the cars that the Tilley boys prepare in TCM. But it has been severely junked, unfortunately. So the race is red flag. The results are declared. Glenn Seaton is the winner of the racing round. Richards, Bow and Jimmy Richards are the top 4. Brett Youlden rounds out the top 10. We're on the countdown to the start of the Super Cheap Auto Bathurst 1000. The warm-up session not too far away.
For me, it's bigger than a championship because it's a single race of huge magnitude of awareness and globally recognised. To get one race like that ready and perfectly executed is pretty hard to do.
Loud and Whitcomb, they have done the double. A three-peat for Team Vodafone. This victory will make them Bathurst immortals.
For Mark and I, we go back there with great high hopes again. Last year was a special moment for the whole team. To get a 1-2 was pretty special. It's one of those highlights of your career that you wouldn't have thought you'd be able to achieve. You used to watch, the Moffat and Bonds of the day, doing their 1-2, but you really didn't think you'd be part of that scenario.
It's a 1-2 for Team Vodafone.
Standing on top of the podium with 100,000 people below you all screaming, it's an unbelievable feeling that you won't get anywhere else.
One, two, three, four.